and trying to just feel out how to use the ink in a way that I want to use it. I mean, it's not enough just to know technique. I'm trying to do this often enough that I get to understand how I want to do it. And whether you like it or not is kind of irrelevant. What I'm trying to find is a way that I like to do it. Hey creatives, welcome to a sketchbook tour. A sketchbook I've been using for the last 3 or 4 months, and I'm hoping to show you what I've been working on, some of the things that I've been experimenting with, some of the techniques I've been exploring. Look, I'm hoping to encourage you to start your own sketchbook and for you to get into doing exactly the same thing that I'm doing. Let's have a look. This was an image that I saw down at the beach in Strahan, the west coast of Tasmania. And look, that wasn't what was in front of me. The water was, a boat was there. I have manipulated the scene to get what I wanted or not. Oh, look, it's okay. I don't know if I love it. I like this one better. This was late in the afternoon. The sun was setting on the west coast. There was a cloud that was in front of that sun that was setting. And look, I don't think that was the color that was there, but I liked the image of the bright sun behind this cloud. And then these colors, I was exploring these pinks and yellows and trying to find a way to combine them. And I like that image. That's a good one. One of the things that I did a lot of in this sketchbook was to explore ink. I got some understanding of ink, but not a lot. But the best way to get better at something is to give it a go and make a mess. And man, I am pretty good at making a mess and just exploring different mark makings here and different nibs that I had. This was an image of me when I went to Sydney with my wife Tiffany for something. Don't remember. I had maybe 10 seconds to draw that, and I drew it and then got out of there. This, however, is a better image where I'm exploring many different mark makings with ink. This is all ink and ink wash. So using a pen, using a stick, using wash, rubbing it out, cleaning it up, using white and dark, drawing houses and vineyards. And this is loosely a scene in my area, but not really. But I like the sweep and the movement and the colors, not the colors, but the tone. Sometimes I can struggle with tone, so this is, it's pretty good for me. Which way is next? This is continuation of the previous one, just some little sketches. This was an experiment where I put it onto my finger and rubbed it on there, and somehow that looks a bit weird for that blue, so that didn't come out. Okay, so this is now me using ink and ink wash and watercolor. And look, I really like the pink here. There's something about that, just that tone and that color. It really grabbed my attention. I've continued it into the rock of that mountain. I like this image. This is a bigger sketch of the valley and another sketch of the valley. And this is what I do best, making a mess. But at the top is an image that, again, I like the mystery here. This is ink, not watercolor. And it behaves differently, but I like the effect I got there on that mountain line. It is different to watercolor. And I don't know if it appears that different as you look at it on camera, but it looks different on the page. Looks more sort of glossy. Again, ink. I really like this yellow. I mean, all of these inks, these colors I chose, so of course I'm going to like them, but the yellow, I put that down just as a complete wash and then drew over the top of it. Not sure whether you can see it, but this is pretty chunky ink mark making here. and I pushed it with a paddle pop stick and I drew it with a nib and I brushed it on there, and it was thick and it was thin, and just exploring what I can do and having fun with that. I really like this heavy ink at the top as an effect with then the sort of the wash of the brown. Anyway, this is the yellow from the top, and then with some watercolor wash and then a drawing and having a bit of fun and not going very far. This is the ink with ink wash, and that's fine. And it's blue this time, and look, I'm learning what I'm doing at the same time as giving these things a go. And I like this image. So this is ink with watercolor. And there was something about the glossiness. Can you see the glossiness of the ink? The glossiness of the ink with the matte of the watercolor. And that seems to work for this image. It's actually quite a few colors into there. I like that one. These are prep studies or trying to feel out the image before I then drew this one down the bottom with, again, yellow and brown ink. And while I'm not a fan of the image that I created, it allowed me just to have fun and experiment. And all of this is like light, very light yellow ink, very dark brown ink, very, very dark brown ink, and trying to just feel out how to use the ink in a way that I want to use it. I mean, it's not enough just to know technique. I'm trying to do this often enough that I get to understand how I want to do it. And whether you like it or not is kind of irrelevant. What I'm trying to find is a way that I like to do it. And there are some marks here where I like to do it, and then there's this sort of puddle mess that happens where, yeah. This is watercolor and ink, and I'm trying the watercolor over the ink over the watercolor and the ink under the watercolor. And the effect is quite different, yeah? This is an image where I was working with the ink and the watercolor and then this huge white space to try and see if I could work it up. And this image led directly to this small painting that I did. And you can see the similarities there between the dark mountain and a mid-tone sky and then bright white, allowing it all to just really stand out. And so while that's not much of a drawing, it led directly to this, and I really like that painting. So there. No comments accepted. This is watercolor, and I'm going for mood. I'm not going for realism of the mountain or any of that sort of stuff. I love the effect there. It is a mood style that I like for sure. Same with this one, different colors, same mountain, trying for the similar mood, but with different colors. This really shows my love of Rothko and these marks that I can make here to do between the mountain line and the skyline, and then the further skyline at the top. These are ink washes, both of them. Don't really like either of them. I didn't really like where they went either. I was trying for mute colors. Yeah, not a fan. They're failed experiments for me. I like this. This is how I draw, and draw in regular. So I like this drawing. I like the sweep of the river. It's semi-abstract, semi-real. Allows me to be a bit more playful. I don't really care to draw exactly what's there anyway. So this is a mixture of what I can see, because I was sitting somewhere, a mixture of what I can see, and then looking at a map, sort of a flat map of the land. This is the same thing again in charcoal at the top. Charcoal is never a good thing to put into a sketchbook like this because you get all this crap on the drawing that you liked. So these are some watercolor paintings here that I cared a little bit more about and put more effort into. And so this is really cold, up against the mountain. So this is looking up at that mountain ridge that I commonly draw. There's a road over a hill. I'm trying for the cold and the dark, and it was dark. I like that. That's interesting as a difference. And then this is an afternoon autumn painting not far from my house. I'm exploring colors, I'm exploring the mountain in the distance, and then different land and stuff that's coming towards me. Again, both of these I kind of like. They're quite realistic, but I like them. This was a reworking of that previous one. Again, don't really like this as an image, but it helped me to do that painting. And some drawings again of that mountain, and yeah, they're good. I like those. This is just drawing and drawing again and sort of practicing, but I like that. Mood sort of pictures again, and they're fine. I'm not sure that they taught me or revealed much to me, except that I wasn't really getting into that. And again, colors, mood, mess. This is part of sketchbooks that you don't always get what you want, and everything's not gold, and that's not gold at all. This one, I'm working on putting the color down and then removing it as a technique with watercolor, and this didn't work, but this one did. So somehow there's a difference there. Similar colors, but this one I got more definition in the mountain. I seem to get a better tone in the sky, or at least a tone that I liked better. And there's subtlety here in terms of an afternoon mood. Yeah, I really like that one. Quick drawing that I did out on location, and then a quick drawing that I did when I was having coffee with Tiffany, and I sketched in that and then painted this later. And yeah, that's cute. Some flower studies, and that seemed to just, I flooded the piece of paper with the colors, and then I just got a bit lost. And then this one is more realistic, but a bit of pencil, a bit of watercolor, a bit of lead pencil. Yeah, look, it's all right. This was on location when we went to Sydney and just having a bit of fun out the front of my brother, my family, extended family's front desk, front lawn, and some cloud studies, just exploring what can be done with some watercolor quite quickly. Another one of the studies to do with that mountain and I'm still searching for the colors there. I'm not really getting it. And this was with ink, and I like that as an image. I got a little bit lost, I think, with some of the marks and the tones, but broadly, it's not too bad. Just some feeling out studies and some experiments, some colors studies, trying to search for some new colors I'm going to use going forward. So these purples and purple red, purple blue, this deep orange. Yeah, I'm excited to explore those colors into what I do next. A tone study down by the river. And this one was quickly done on the side of the road, and I really like the image, and I may well work that up into a painting. I really like the mood, but it needs a bit of work. And that's it. What I really hope is that this encourages you to start your own sketchbook and explore some things that you might want to do. It doesn't have to be an expensive book, and you don't need to use expensive materials. Just go out and draw and paint some things with whatever you've got and explore what you can do. And I guarantee you, the more you practice, and the more you practice where you don't have to worry too much about it, like in a sketchbook, the better you will get at your technique, but the better that you'll get at the way that you want to do the technique. And that's what we're all looking for.